Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Darati Swaparantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutapata Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Satrupam Sadrijatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bando Jagatpate गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवारी पाशत्ताय देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे हरि बोल। Okay, so chapter 52, Krishna kidnaps Rukmini. After hearing Rukmini's statement, Lord Krishna was very pleased. He immediately shook hands with the Brahmana and said, "My dear Brahmana, I am very glad to hear that Rukmini is anxious to marry me, since I am also anxious to get her hand. My mind is always absorbed in the thought of the daughter of Bhishmaka, and sometimes I cannot sleep at night because I'm thinking of her. I can understand that the marriage of Rukmini with Shishupala has been arranged by her elder brother in a spirit of animosity toward me. So I am determined to give a good lesson to all of these princes. Just as fire is extracted and utilized after manipulating ordinary wood, similarly after dealing with these demoniac princes, I shall bring forth Rukmini like fire from their midst." Krishna, upon being informed of the specific date of Rukmini's marriage, became anxious to leave immediately. He asked his driver, Daruka, to harness the horses for his chariot and prepare to go to the kingdom of Vidarbha. The driver, just after hearing this order, brought Krishna's 4 special horses. The names and descriptions of these horses are mentioned in the Padma Purana. The first one, Shaivya, was greenish. The second, Sugriva, was grayish like ice. The third, Mega Pushpa, was the color of a new cloud, and the last, Balahaka, was of ashen color. When the horses were yoked and the chariot ready to go, Krishna helped the Brahmana up and gave him a seat by his side. Immediately they started from Dwaraka and within one night arrived at the province of Vidarbha. The kingdom of Dwaraka is situated in the western part of India and Vidarbha is situated in the northern part. They are separated by a distance of not less than 1,000 miles. But the horses were so fast that they reached their destination, a town called Undina, within one night, or at most 12 hours. King Bhishmaka was not very enthusiastic about handing his daughter over to Shishupala, but he was obliged to accept the marriage settlement due to his affectionate attachment for his eldest son, who had negotiated it. As matter of duty, he was decorating the city for the marriage ceremony and was acting in great earnestness to make it very successful. Water was sprinkled all over the streets and the city was cleansed very nicely. Since India is situated in the tropical zone, the atmosphere is always dry. Due to this, dust always accumulates on the streets and roads, so they must be sprinkled with water at least once a day, and in big cities like Calcutta, twice a day. The roads of Kundina were arranged with colored flags and festoons, and gates were constructed at particular crossings. The whole city was decorated very nicely. The beauty of the city was enhanced by the inhabitants, both men and women, who were dressed in washed clothes, decorated with sandalwood pulp, pearl necklaces, and flower garlands. Incense was burning everywhere, and fragrances like aguru scented the air. Priests and brahmanas were sumptuously fed, and according to ritualistic ceremony were given sufficient wealth and cows in charity. In this way they were engaged in chanting the Vedic hymns. The king's daughter, Rukmini, was exquisitely beautiful. She was very clean and had beautiful teeth. The auspicious sacred girdle, what, how is this pronounced? Girdle. Yeah, girdle, was tied on her wrist. She was given various types of jewelry to put on and long silken cloths to cover the upper and lower parts of her body. Learned priests gave her protection by chanting mantras from the Samaveda, Rigveda, and Yajurveda. After this, they chanted mantras from the Atharva Veda and offered oblations in the fire to pacify the omniscience conjunctions of different stars. King Bhishmaka was very experienced in dealing with the Brahmanas and priests when such ceremonies were held. He specifically distinguished the Brahmanas by giving them large quantities of gold and silver, grains mixed with molasses, and cows decorated with golden ornaments. Tamagosha, Sisupala's father, executed all kinds of ritualistic performances to invoke good fortune for his own family. Shishupala's father was known as Damagosa due to his superior ability to cut down unregulated citizens. Dama means gulping down and Gosha means famous, so he was famous for controlling the citizens. Damagosa thought that if Krishna came to disturb the marriage ceremony, he would certainly cut him down with his military power. Therefore, after performing the various auspicious ceremonies, Damagosha gathered his military divisions known as Madasravi. He took many elephants garlanded with golden necklaces and many chariots and horses, which were similarly decorated. It appeared that Damagosha, along with his son and other companions, was going to Kundina, not completely forgetting the marriage, but mainly intent on fighting. Hare Krishna. Okay, any devotee can continue. Haribo.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. When King Bhishmaka learned that Dhamaghosa and his party were arriving, he left the city to receive them. Outside the city gate, there were many gardens where the guests were welcome to stay. In the Vedic system of the marriage, the brides of the father bride's father received the large party of the bridegroom and accommodate them in the suitable place for 2 or 3 days until the marriage ceremony is performed. The party led by the Dama Gosa contained thousands of men, among whom the prominent kings and personalities were Jarasandha, Dantavakra, Vidu, Viduratha, and Pandudrika. It was an open secret that Rukmani was meant to be married to Krishna, but that her elder brother Rukmi had arranged her marriage to Sisupala. These There was also some whispering going on about the rumors that Rukmani had sent two messenger to Krishna. Therefore, the soldier suspected that Krishna might cause a disturbance by the attempting to kidnap Rukmani. Even though they were not without fear, they were all prepared to give Krishna a nice fight in the order to prevent the girl from the being taken away. Sri Balarama received the news that Krishna had left for the Kundina, accompanied only by the Brahmana. He also heard that Sisupala was there with a large number of the soldiers. Suspecting that they would attract Krishna, Balarama took a strong military division of the chariot, infantry, horses, and elephants and arrived at the prescient, prescient of the Kundina. Meanwhile, inside the place, Rukmani was expecting Krishna to arrive, but when neither he or nor Brahmana who took her message appeared, she became full of the anxiety and began to think that how unfortunate she was there is only one night between today and my marriage day, and still neither the Brahmana or Shyamsundra has returned. I cannot ascertain any reason for this. Having little hope, she thought perhaps Krishna has found reason to become dissatisfied and had rejected her fair proposal. As a result, Brahmana might have become disappointed and not come back. Although she was thinking of the various causes for the delay, she expected them both at the every moment. Rukmani further began to think that demigods such as Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, the goddess Durga, might have been displeased. It is generally said that the demigods become angry when they are not properly worshipped. For the instance, when Indra found that the inhabitants of the Vrindavan were not worshipping with him, Krishna, having stopped the Indra Yagna, he became very angry and wanted to chastise them. Thus, Rukmani was thinking that since she did not worship Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma very much, they might have become angry and tried to frustrate her plan. Similarly, she thought that the goddess Durga, the wife of the Lord Shiva, might have taken the side of her husband. Lord Shiva is known as Rudra, and his wife is known as the Rudrani. Rudrani and Rudra refer to those who are very accustomed to putting other in the distressed condition so they might cry forever. Rukmani was thinking of the goddess Durga as Grija, the daughter of the Himalayan mountains. The Himalayan mountains are very cold and hard, and she thought of the goddess Durga as the hard-hearted and cold. In the anxiety to see Krishna, Rukmani, who was after all still a child, thought this way about the different demigods. The gopis worship goddess Katyani to get Krishna as their husband. Similarly, Rukmani was thinking of the various type of the demigods, not for the material benefit, but in the respect to Krishna, praying to the demigods to achieve the achieve the favor of Krishna is not irregular, and Rukmani was fully absorbed in the thought of the Krishna, even though she pacified herself by thinking that the time for the Govinda to arrive had not yet expired. Rukmani felt that she was hoping against the hope. She began to shed tears, and when they become more forceful, she closed her eyes in the hopeless. While Rukmani was in the such deep thought, auspicious symptoms appeared in the different part of her body. Trembling began to occur in her left eyelid and in her arms and thigh. When trembling occur in these parts of the body, it is an auspicious sign indicating that something lux- luxuriative can be expected. Just then, Rukmani, full of the anxiety, saw the Brahmana's messenger Krishna. Being the superhero of all living beings, could understand Rukmani's anxiety. Therefore, he sent the Brahmana inside the place to let her know that he had arrived. When Rukmani saw the Brahmana, she could understand that auspicious trembling of her body and immediately become elevated, elated. She smiled and inquired from him whether or not Krishna had already come. The Brahmana replied that the son of Yadu dynasty, Sri Krishna, had arrived. He further encouraged her by the saying that Krishna had promised to carry her away without fail. Rukmani, Rukmani was so elated by the Brahmana's message that she wanted to give him in charity everything she had possessed. However, finding nothing suitable for the presentation, she simply offered him her respectful obeisance. The significance of the offering respectful obeisance for a superior is that the one one offering obeisance is obliged to the respected person. In the other word, Rukmani implied that she would remain ever grateful to the Brahmanas. Everyone who gets the favor of the goddess of the fortune, as did his Brahmanas, is the without a doubt always happy in material opulence. When King Bhishmaka heard that Krishna and Balarama had come, he invited them to see the marriage ceremony of their daughter. Immediately, he arranged to receive them along with their soldier in the suitable garden house. As, as was the Vedic custom, the king offered Krishna and Balarama honey, the flesh washed cloth, and fresh washed cloth. He was hosp- hospitable not only to Krishna, Balarama, and kings such as Jarasandha, but he also received many other kings and princes according to their respective proposal strength, age, and material possession. Out of the curiosity and eagerness to the people of Kundina assembled before Krishna and Balarama and began to drink the nectar of their beauty with the tearful eyes. They offered them their silent respect. They were very pleased considering the Lord Krishna the suitable match for the Rukmani. They were so eager to unite Krishna and Rukmani that they began to pray to the personality of God and my dear Lord, if we have performed any pious activities then that you have satisfied with, kindly be merciful upon us and accept the hand of Rukmani. It appeared that Rukmani was a very popular princess and all the citizens out of the instance love for her, prayed for her best fortune. In the meanwhile, Rukmani, being very nicely dressed and protected by the bodyguards, came out of the place. Came out of the came out of the place to visit the temple of the Ambika, the goddess Durga. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, please continue.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu, for reading. So who's gonna read next?
I'll read. I'll start.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Deity worship in the temple has been in existence since the beginning of Vedic culture. There is class of men described in the Bhagavad Gita as the Vedarata. They only believe in Vedic ritualistic ceremonies, but not in the temple worship. Such foolish people may here take note that although this marriage of Krishna and Rukmani took place more than 5,000 years ago, there were arrangements for temple worship. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Yanti Deva Vrata Devan. The worshippers of the demigods attain the abodes of demigods. There were many people who worshipped demigods and many who directly worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The system of design worship was directly mainly to Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Ganesha, and the sun god, and the goddess Durga. Lord Shiva and the goddess Durga were worshipped even by the royal families. Other minor demigods were worshipped by silly inferior people. Other, as far as the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas are concerned, they simply worship Lord Vishnu and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the Bhagavad Gita, the worship of demigods is condemned but not forbidden. There it is stated that less intelligent class of men. Prabhu, I'm interrupting.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu. I can read also. Oh, there it is clearly stated that the less intelligent class of men worship the different kinds of demigods for material benefit. On the other hand, even though Rukmini was the goddess of fortune, she went to the temple of the goddess Durga because the family deity was worshipped there. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that as Rukmini was proceeding toward the temple of the goddess Durga, within her heart, she was always thinking of the lotus feet of Krishna. Therefore, when Rukmini went to the temple, it was not with the intention of an ordinary person who goes to beg for material benefits. Her only target was Krishna. When people go to the temple of a demigod, the objective is actually Krishna, since it is he who empowers the demigods to provide material benefits. As Rukmini proceeded toward the temple, she was very silent and grave. Her mother and her girlfriend were by her side, and the wife of a Brahmana was in the center. Surrounding her were royal bodyguards. This custom of a would-be bride going to the temple of a demigod is still practiced in India. As the procession continued, various musical sounds were heard, drums, conch shell, bugles of different sizes, such as panavas, turias, and berries combined to make a sound which was not only auspicious, but very sweet to hear. There were thousands of wives of respectable Brahmanas present. These women were all dressed very nicely with suitable ornaments. They presented Rukmini with flower garlands, sandalwood pulp, and variety of colorful garments to assist her in worshipping Lord Shiva and the goddess Durga. Some of these ladies were very old and knew perfectly well to chant prayers to how to chant the prayers to the goddess Durga and Lord Shiva. So, followed by Rukmini and others, they led the prayers before the deity. Rukmini offered her prayers to the deity by saying, "My dear goddess Durga, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you as well as to your children." The goddess Durga has four famous children, two daughters, the goddess of fortune Lakshmi and the goddess of learning Saraswati, and two famous sons, Lord Ganesh and Lord Kartikeya. They are all considered to be demigods and goddesses. Since the goddess Durga is always worshipped along with her famous children, Rukmini specifically offered her respectful obeisances to the deity in that way. However, her prayers were different. Ordinary people prayed to the goddess Durga for material wealth, fame, profit, strength, and so on. Rukmini, however, desired to have Krishna for her husband, and therefore prayed to the deity to be pleased upon her and bless her. Since she desired only Krishna, her worship of the demigods is not condemned. While Rukmini was praying, a variety of items were presented before the deity, chief of which were water, different kinds of flames, incense, garments, garlands, and various foodstuffs prepared with ghee, such as puris and kachoris. There were also fruits, sugar cane, betel nuts, and spices offered. With great devotion, Rukmini offered them to the deity according to the regulative principles directed by the old Brahmana ladies. After the ritualistic ceremony, the ladies offered the remnants of the foodstuffs to Rukmini as prasadam, which she accepted with great respect. Then Rukmini offered their obeisances to the ladies and to the goddess Durga. After the business of deity worship was finished, Rukmini caught hold of the hand of one of her girlfriends and left the temple, accompanied by the others. Ribo, so now it's picture time. Here Rukmini is praying to Krishna for the life of her brother. And Krishna cuts his hair and beard.
Half saved.
Yes. He's mortified, he looks like.
Also, his mooch is gone.
Yes, Prabhu. And Rukmini is praying that don't to save him. Don't kill him.
Yes, bro.
Here is Kalyavana burnt into ashes within a moment.
Yes, bro.
Krishna is seeing what he called.
Gada and lotus. Gada, Sankh, lotus, and fine.
Yes, Prabhu. This is funny. The cook found a nice baby within the belly of fish. Look at their faces. How is this baby here? And the baby is so happy.
You're surprised.
Yes, Prabhu. No. It's the last page. Terrible. Ero Prabhu, can you read this last page?
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Can you zoom a little?
Yes.
Thank you, Prabhu. All the all the princes and visitors who came to Kundina for the marriage were assembled outside the temple to see Rukmini. The princes were especially very eager to see her because they all actually thought that they would have Rukmini as their wife. Struck with wonder upon seeing Rukmini, they thought that she was specially manufactured by the Creator to bewilder all the great chivalrous princes. Her body was well constructed, the middle portion being thin. She had green eyes, pink lips, and a beautiful face, which was enhanced by her scattered hair and by different kinds of earrings. Around her feet she wore jeweled lockets. The bodily luster and beauty of Rukmini appeared as if painted by an artist, perfectly presenting beauty following the description of great poets. The breast of Rukmini is described as being a little bit high, indicating that she was just a youth, not more than 13 or 14 years old. Her beauty was specifically intended to attract the attention of Krishna. Although the princess gazed upon her beautiful features, she was not at all proud. Her eyes moved restlessly, and when she smiled very simply, like an innocent girl, her teeth appeared just like lotus flowers. Expecting Krishna to take her away at any moment, she proceeded very slowly towards her home. Her legs moved just like a full grown swan, and her ankle bells tinkled very mildly. As already explained, the great chivalrous princes who assembled there were so overwhelmed by Rukmini's beauty that they almost became unconscious. Full of lust, they hopelessly desired Rukmini's hand, comparing their own beauty with hers. Srimati Rukmini, however, was not interested in any of them. In her heart, she was simply expecting Krishna to come and carry her away. As she was adjusting the ornaments on her left hand finger, she happened to look upon the princess and suddenly saw that Krishna was present amongst them. Although Rukmini had never before seen Krishna, she was always thinking of him. Thus, she had no difficulty in recognizing him amongst the princely order. Krishna, not being concerned with the other princes, immediately took the opportunity of placing Rukmini on his chariot, marked by a flag bearing an image of Garuda. He then proceeded slowly without fear, taking away Rukmini exactly as the lion takes the deer from the midst of the jackals. Meanwhile, Balarama appeared on the scene with the soldiers of the Yadu dynasty. Jarasandha, who had many times experienced defeat by Krishna, began to roar. How is this? Krishna is taking Rukmini away from us without any opposition. What is the use in our being that's a difficult word for me. Chivalrous fighters with arrows. My dear princess, just look, we are losing our reputation by this action. It is just like the jackal taking away the booty from the lion. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 52nd chapter of Krishna. Krishna kidnaps Rukmini. Thank you, Prabhus.
Haribol. Yes, this ending was amazing. Nice, because Rukmini haven't never seen Krishna, but still because she always think of Krishna, he identified Krishna like in second. She knew, oh, here is Krishna. And also, this was funny thing that here is described that taking away Rukmini exactly as the lion takes the deer from the midst of the jackals, and see how Jarasandha was seeing it. It is just like the jackal taking away the booty from the lion. He was seeing Krishna as jackal and themselves as lion, when it was really the other way around. They were the jackals and Krishna was the lion. Okay, so tomorrow we read about Krishna defeating all the princes and taking Rukmini home to Dwaraka. Okay, now let's go to Siksastakam prayer. चेतोदर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादावाग्निर्वापनं श्रेयः कैरवचन्द्रिका वितरणं विद्यावादुजीवनम् आनन्दं बुद्धिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतस्वादनं सर्वात्मा स्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम्.
नामनामकारी बहुधा निज सर्वशक्ति स तत्र पिता नियामितः स्मरेण न कला एतादर्शी तव कृपा भगवान् ममपि दुर्दा वेदं स्त्रसम इह जानेन अनुग्रह
त्रिनादपि सुनीचेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुना अमानिना मानदेन कीर्तनीया सदा हरि.
न धनं न जन्म न सुन्दरीं कवितां वा जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मेश्वरे भवताद् भक्तिरहेतुकी तवै
ऐनन्दतनुजा किङ्करं पतितां वां विषमे भवां बुधौ कृपय तव पादपङ्कजास्तिदधूलिसदृशं विचिन्तय.
नयनं गलद अश्रुधर्य वदनं गदगदरुद्यायग्र पुलाकिरनिश्चितं वपु कदा तव मम ग्रहणे भविष्यति
युगायितं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्राविर्ष्यायितं शून्यायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्द विरहेण मे.
अश्लस्य वा पदारतं पिन्नाष्टु मां सदृशमर्म हतं करोतु वा यथा तथा वा विद्यातुलं पटो मत प्राणनाथस्तोषा एव न प्रह
Haribo.
हरि बोल
Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtana movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living entities, and thus you have hundreds and millions of the names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rule for the chanting these names, O my Lord. Out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names. But I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor I do desire a beautiful woman, and nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth.
Era Prabhu, your turn.
Can you zoom?
Is it? Oh, yes.
Pranjal Prabhu also can.
O son of Maharachananda, O son of Maharachananda, Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms of lotus feet. Yes.
Pranjal Prabhu, you can read. Please read.
Pranjal Prabhu ki jai.
What?
Oh my Lord, when my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name, when my voice choke up And when my hairs of body stand at the end, at the recitation of your name.
Hari Bol. O Govinda, feeling your separations, I'm considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handle me roughly by his embrace or make me broken hearted by not being presented before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my merciful Lord, unconditionally.
Hari Bol, Sri Siksastakam ki jai,
Jai.
Hanuman Sankirtan ki jai, Panchatattva ki jai, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Prabhu Nityananda ki jai, Jagat Guru Sri Swami Shila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Bande, Hari Hari Bol.